The 10th of June, and let's get to work. We've got communication this morning. Welcome from Krista. She's with Community Action House. And if you wouldn't mind getting us started today and give us a report on all that's been going on with you.
Certainly. I'll just wait a moment while my slides are pulled up. And do I have the capacity to move the slides forward, or do I need to ask someone to do that? No, then I'm seeing unless it walked away somewhere.
And you were an ARPA funds recipient, and
correct.
we've been consistently hearing from our ARPA partners about how funds, the people's money, has been used to promote different activities and programs and fulfill needs in our community. And you are coming forward today to give us a little bit of update on what you're up to.
Absolutely. So as Mr. Bonema said, my name is Krista Burgett, and I am the Senior Manager of Lakeshore Food Rescue, and here to update you about our project to expand food rescue in Ottawa County. I want to begin by thanking the Board of Commissioners and the county as a whole for your generous support of this initiative. Your investment has allowed us to make great strides in expanding food rescue efforts across the county, and we're excited about our continued momentum. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today to share a snapshot of the progress so far and the impact that we've made together. Let's see if this works. Oh, point it there. Okay, great. Looking at a project overview. This project built long-term infrastructure to ensure that wholesome surplus food is efficiently being redirected to where it can make the greatest impact, fighting hunger across Ottawa County. It was funded as a time-limited investment that has long-term impact. Your support allowed us to quickly scale operations while laying the foundation for future growth. We've put in place the tools, the staff, and the systems to be stable now and sustainable in the years ahead. When we say rescued food, what does that mean? It means perfectly good food, often fresh and perishable, like produce, meat, dairy items, prepared food, items that are no longer going to be sold through retail, but are still safe and nutritious today. Our sources include grocery stores, farms, food processors, logistics companies, restaurants. It might be close to the sell-by date food, food that was overstocked, food that was undersold compared to projections, or excess food from catered events. By mobilizing local volunteers and partners, we intercept this food before it goes to waste, and we get it quickly into the hands of nonprofits serving our neighbors in need. So you can see that these were ARPA general funds, and the project term was 2 years of 2023 and 2024. So that project term has wrapped up, but the work is still continuing and continuing strong. If you can go to the next slide, please. Our goals and commitments when we set out. We wanted to expand this infrastructure. We built regular routes with recurring donors. We formed strong partnerships with nonprofits so we could match food with storage capacity. We developed systems for smoothly onboarding new partners, both donors and the nonprofit recipients. And we also built the flexibility in our model to quickly respond to unexpected large donations and to move food quickly. Some quick examples: receiving an entire 53-foot semi of yogurt, unexpected. Within hours, it was at our dock. Being able to say yes to 11 pallets of potatoes and having the loading dock to take it, the trucks with lift gates to deliver it to Coopersville, to deliver it to corners of the county. Simply things that without this infrastructure investment would have never been possible. And now we can grow forward in the future because now we're known to those donors, we're known to those logistics companies, and those calls will continue because food waste is a significant problem, and it's not a food safety problem at all. It's a logistics problem. It's this food is good now here, but where do I put it? And that's where we come in with the solution. Our technology implementation goal was to implement the Food Rescue Hero app, and that helps us coordinate with volunteer drivers in real time. And that makes us able to say yes to any size donations. With our fleet of 3 refrigerated trucks, we're able to say yes to the big donations, but we want donation to be easy. And so even if it's a bag of bagels, it's if a tray of prepared food, that's when we can mobilize our volunteers using their own cars. And in 2024 alone, over 1,700 rescues were completed by volunteers in their own cars. And we never would have been able to do that with just our staff and our trucks. And we know people don't want hunger and they don't want food waste. And so we make it as easy as possible to solve for those problems. The staffing with this investment involved hiring 3 full-time team members. One of them is myself, and the investment covered 18 months of those staff people, and then the team is continuing, and the team is steady to carry this work forward. We dispatch, we manage incoming donations, we build efficient routes, and we match food with the right partners every day. For our equipment growth, we purchased 2 new vehicles. One includes our largest refrigerated truck, and that's the one that can hold 30,000 pounds. And that was honestly the complete game changer for this entire project. It just put us into the next level of being able to say yes to donations and move food that Ottawa County never would have been able to see that food in the past. We also installed commercial fridges at 6 locations across the county because as much as we're thriving in accepting the food, we need places to put it. And these 6 commercial fridges went into nonprofits in Allendale, Coopersville, Holland, Jenison, and Grand Haven, really emphasizing that county-wide impact. You can go to the next slide, please. Now that we've talked a little bit about the foundation and infrastructure we built, I want to walk through some of the impact that we've seen so far. These key metrics reflect what this infrastructure has made possible. And it's not just pounds of rescued food. It's really the reach, the relationships, and the ripple effects of what happens when we mobilize an entire community to reduce waste and fight hunger. Next slide, please. First, we'll look at that top line food rescued number. You can see that our food rescued year over year highlights the rapid growth of the program. We went from 1.2 million pounds in 2022 to 2 million pounds in 2023, and that nearly doubled again, 3.8 million pounds in 2024. And that just really highlights how much the good, healthy food is out there. And as communities start to have infrastructure like this, the food quickly gets connected and it can simply grow from there. Our original goal when we put together this proposal was to rescue 100,000 pounds of food per month for Ottawa County residents. And in 2024, we far exceeded that. First, if you only look at nonprofit partners inside of Ottawa County, but external to the Community Action House Food Club, so all of those smaller partners that we're sharing food with, that number alone for 2024 was over 990,000 pounds of food. And then when you add in the rescued food that was distributed through the Community Action House Food Club in Holland, you get over 200,000 pounds of food a month. So we over doubled what we were shooting for this project. Next slide, please. Our recipient agencies, there were 48 different partners in Ottawa County, and those partners reach an approximate 10,000 plus households in Ottawa County every month. And our network includes pantries, after-school programs, adult foster care homes, and more. We really need a wide variety of partners to be able to say yes to all the wide variety of food that we receive. This word cloud is a little bit of the feedback that we received this year from our partners when they were asked to describe what it was like to work with Lakeshore Food Rescue in 1 or 2 words. And these partners are essential. Our team is handling the planning, the donor coordination, the routes, but the system only works because they're willing and ready to receive and distribute the food. Next slide, please. Then you have our donors. We partnered with 131 different food donors, and 37 of those were new in 2024 alone. So again, that just really highlights the if you build it, they will come. The food is out there. At the rate that we are growing shows it's simply a matter of the word getting out, our team being able to connect, and the cold storage, honestly, just increasing across the county because a lot of times we just got to figure out where to put that food. Our donor network includes grocery stores, farms, restaurants, schools, manufacturers. Some of them are donating large one-time loads, and some of them give smaller, frequent donations, but it all adds up. Each new donor represents a relationship built through trust, communication, and shared goals. And these partners are key to keeping that good food out of landfills and getting it to people who need it. Next slide. The last metric I'm going to talk about is environmental impact. And food rescue really delivers on two fronts, environmental and economic. When food goes to waste, it doesn't just impact hunger. It also wastes all the resources that went into producing it. Food is expensive in terms of labor, fuel, water, all that money to grow, harvest, transport, process food. And when as a nation we've put all of that work into food, it's a crime for it to just sit in the landfill. And then on the environmental side, once it sits in the landfill, it contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. And decomposing food releases methane, which is 20 times more potent than CO2. So that 3.8 million pounds of food that we rescued in 2024, it helped prevent significant emissions, and it preserved that value of the food, keeping it out of the trash and putting it to good use in our communities. This work really cuts down on waste while putting existing resources to better use. You can go to the next slide. I just want to say thank you again for your investment in this work. Together, we've built something that not only addresses urgent needs today, but it creates lasting systems for tomorrow. We're proud of the progress we've made so far and really excited about what's ahead. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Krista. One question that I have before I pass it to the other commissioners is you mentioned 3.8 million pounds of food rescued just in 2024, and that trend was really on the upward swing. Are you expecting to double again for 2025? Are you looking at 7 or 8 million pounds? Where is that going?
Yeah, we're expecting to, continue to increase. I think one good example of how we actually hope to find a plateau is Detroit and Metro Food Rescue. The Detroit Produce Terminal, probably most of the food produce you've ever eaten in Michigan comes through either the Detroit Produce Terminal or the Chicago Produce Terminal. I made a connection with a producer at the Detroit Produce Terminal, and last year we used a partnership with In on Time. And whenever they had an empty truck coming across the state at the end of a route, we would try to fill it with rescued produce from the Detroit Produce Terminal. And we, pallets and pallets and semis of strawberries came to West Michigan that way. The exciting thing about partnership is after I made that introduction, I helped connect Detroit Metro Food Rescue with the produce terminal. And they now rescue from all 8 of the produce wholesalers there multiple times a week. And we've started the season and we've got weekly shipments coming from them. I say all that picture to say, last year, those strawberries were our pounds rescued, so to speak. I'm really hoping that what gets rescued from the Detroit Produce Terminal grows significantly in the next year. And I hope a lot of it goes to Detroit because a lot of this is about food staying local. And we've also built that partnership that we are still getting surplus from them. So a lot of times I do expect the number to grow. And, if things plateau, there's usually a more beautiful story behind it of what problems we're solving and what partnerships we're growing.
I visited your market in Holland. Do you have other locations that the public can interact with like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, pretty much any place in Ottawa County that that is a small food pantry is probably connected with us. So even though they're not our sites, they're, in a lot of ways connected to Lakeshore Food Rescue. And if you know someone doing food access who's not connected to us, please make the introduction.
Commissioner Miedema.
Thanks for being here today, Krista. Good to meet you. I'm just wondering, so you said that some of the money from ARPA dollars went for staff funding.
Yes.
Do you have a way to continue to fund that now? Like, how are you going to continue funding it?
Yep. Lakeshore Food Rescue is operating as a program of Community Action House and is committed to the same way they fund all their programs with a diverse grant funding, community funding, organizational funding. They've got a great diverse revenue mix and they're committed to continuing this work. So thank you so much for building that infrastructure and giving us that boost so that we can continue this on.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rohde.
Hi. Thank you for sharing all of this. It's great to hear the good work you guys are doing. One question I have is, I believe, prior to all of your work, a lot of these food resources perhaps may have gone to our shelters.
Mhm.
And so has that created a difficulty at all for the shelters? Are you working to make sure they're getting what they need? And then another question would be, what nonprofits are receiving the food as a benefit of you being able to gather all of this?
Yeah. First to the shelters, absolutely. They're actually one of my favorite places to distribute food to because prepared food is an area that is just going to continue to grow as we grow. And that's not something that pantries can take. And so we work closely with Gateway Mission multiple times a week, diverting food to them. And it's been a great mutually beneficial partnership. And just to save time, I'll direct you to our end of year report that I'm sure the Department of Strategic Impact can make sure you're connected with, because it's a list of 38 places in Ottawa County that are receiving food. So I won't list those, but we can get you that
Thank you.
info. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any others? Great job today, and thank you for all that you're doing. We do appreciate the measurables. Seeing those key metrics illustrated like you did is very helpful.
Great.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
You bet. All right, with that, we're going to open up the floor to public comment. Is there anybody that would like to come and address the Board of Commissioners for 3 minutes? You're welcome to do so now. Not seeing any. We will move forward to the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Not hearing any. We'll move on to the consent resolutions. The approval of the minutes from May 13, 2025, Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving forward, the agenda and action requests. The first item up is the approval for the statement of review. Rachel, would you call the roll?
How about I make a motion?
Oh.
Motion.
There you
Make
go.
that
motion. I'll
Support.
second it.
Never been a contentious one, so we'll go to the vote.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
motion passes.
Number 2 is the accounts payable for May 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2025. The suggested motion is to approve the general claims in the amount of $15,842,622.10 as presented by the summary report for May 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
No discussion. Rachel?
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great, thank you. Number 3 on our agenda today is the cooling tower replacements. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners a contract with Hearst Mechanical for the replacement of the cooling towers at a total cost of $299,601. There's been some additional language added to this motion. Regina should have handed it to you. The additional language is and authorize a reallocation of $72,800 from DHHS Building Roof Project to fully fund the project.
So moved.
Support.
And I think we have facilities here today. You'd like to give us a little update on your brand new cooling towers?
Good morning. My name is Abby Mosier. I am the Assistant Director of Facilities, currently serving as the Interim Director of Facilities. We have John Vargo here. He is our project manager and he is leading this project. And so I will give the floor and stand next to him while he tells you about it.
So this is for the replacement of 2 cooling towers at James Street A and B buildings. We've met our life expectancy of the units that are there of 25 years. So our units have aged and it's time for replacement.
What is the life expectancy of these towers?
Depending upon the hardness of the water and the condition of the water, 15 to 25 years.
Commissioner Miedema.
Are there any, can you elaborate just a little bit of moving the reallocation of the money from the building roof project? Is that one just going to take place a little bit later than expected then? Or does it not need as much money for that roof project?
So that project was completed.
Okay, so that money was left over and now will be allocated to help with this one. Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to reread the motion altogether. It's to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners a contract with Hearst Mechanical for the replacement of the cooling towers at A and B buildings on James Street for a total of $299,601 and authorize a reallocation of $72,800 from DHHS building roof project to fully fund the contract. Rachel, would you call the vote?
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
Mr. Bruger.
Yep.
Mrs. Miedema.
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel.
Yes.
Mr. Barry.
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey.
Yes.
Mr. Moss.
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra.
Yes.
Mr. Kyers.
Yes.
Mr. Bonema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, that brings us up to number 4. This is the suggested motion to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the contract with Sentinel Technologies for Cisco WebEx calling and customer assist at a 6-year total cost of $780,665. And I believe, support.
So move.
All right, we have John with us.
Morning. Just a brief overview of it. Our current licensing for our phone system is coming due this fall. And so we were looking at options for, do we continue with the current on-premise licensing, or do we look at moving to the, move into the cloud? And when we compared the options, we made the determination that moving to the cloud made the most sense for us. Both the features available to it, as well as we're anticipating even some cost savings, not in fiscal 26, but fiscal 27 and beyond, just from some additional things that we can cancel that we're currently paying for to support the on-premise system, as well as a anticipated server replacement in fiscal 28 that will not be necessary if we move to the cloud. We negotiated some with Cisco, and they have a current promotion right now where if we sign a contract before the end of their fiscal year, which is sometime in July, that they'll actually give us a year free of service on the Cisco WebEx calling, which is a savings of about $97,000, somewhere in that range. So it's a 6-year contract, and we basically are paying for professional services in the first year to set it up. It's basically resetting up our entire phone system in the cloud. It's a process that I'll be helping with. So the amount in the contract for the professional services is basically a worst case scenario. But I'll be assisting with it. So that number should come in less. And then, it's a 6-year total contract.
Any questions? Commissioner Moss?
Just a question and a comment. How much physical hardware is included? Is there new physical hardware on-prem, or is it all cloud-based?
It's pretty much all cloud-based. At the last meeting, we replaced some of the, there was a contract to replace the voice gateways. It's the equipment we would need either way if we stayed on premise or if we were to go to the cloud. It generates the analog phone lines. It's also, if we do move to the cloud, it's the devices that will basically take an internal call and then send it to the Cisco WebEx calling system. So,
is the internal infrastructure in Ottawa, is it analog or?
no, it's almost entirely digital.
Okay.
So we've
Great.
got a few analog lines around, mainly fax machines, a couple elevators, but it's mainly all IP based.
It's great. And I fully support the move to the cloud. I think it will produce cost savings long-term and
Yeah.
more flexibility.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Without seeing any further questions, we can call the roll.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. 5 is Patagonia Health EHR. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the contract with Patagonia Health to renew the subscription for electronic health record software for 3 years at a total cost of $271,000.
So moved.
Support.
Well, I could invite IT back. Is this under IT? Nope. Oh, okay. If you'd like to give us a little rundown of what we're voting on here.
Sure. Hi, Debbie Price. I'm with the Department of Public Health. I am the nurse practitioner supervisor and the acting clinical services manager. The county first transitioned to an electronic medical record in 2009. In 2018, we decided that that particular system was no longer suitable to our needs and embarked on a process of searching for the current system, following county procurement and administrative standards. So we've been using Patagonia Health since 2019, and we would like to continue using it. It's purpose-built for public health. It suits our needs. And we have an opportunity, instead of renewing year by year, to renew for a 3-year contract. So the cost savings would be $4,667 a year, or a total of about $14,000 over 3 years.
Any questions? Not seeing any. I think we're ready to vote.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving right along to number 6 on the agenda. It's the Materials Management Planning Grant. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the grant agreement for materials management planning with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy.
So moved.
Support.
Oh, good. We got Kim here today to sort out the details for us. Welcome. I know you've been at work for many months on this.
Yes, I have. We finally got the grant, so
Late's better than never, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm not sure. I did just a quick run through. 'Cause not everyone's familiar, I don't believe, with what materials management plan is. So Michigan had changed the approach from waste management in 2022. Counties used to have a solid waste management plan that focused mainly on the landfills. Now, the state law requires all counties to have a materials management plan that focuses full life cycles on the reduce, reuse, recycle, composting first. Then the landfills only is what's left. The shift from managing waste to materials management productively. The final plan must be approved by the state in July of 2027. So it's a required plan that every county. So what this grant does is it gives every county for each over 3 years, each county every 3 years per capita, 50 cents per capita for every resident. So we're going to get I'm not going to go over the amounts and stuff. You have it in front of you. So, and what we're going to do with it is staff to develop the plan to engage with the community, the data to collection, analyze current waste streams, community outreach and education, the program. There's a small amount there for a consultant to help us verify that we're doing everything correctly. And but the idea is to keep the funding as much as possible internally is what the idea is. So then after that initial 3-year period, the grant will then continue on for $60,000. But the state is doing it in chunks. And I want to give you a brief timeline of kind of how everything has gone so far. So March of 24, the board passed the resolution becoming the CAA. What that is the board took over and became in control of the plan, saying that they're going to enact the plan, and designated me as the designated point of authority, designated planning agency. Then in May of 2024, you went through the talent and recruitment agency, and that's when at the time Commissioner Bodema was the representative for the county. Then August of 2024, the Materials Management Planning Committee started meeting, and then 2025, we created the work program, and that's the grant application. And I have a copy of that, and that's at the end of the grant. And that kind of tells, this is what our plan is for the grant. This is what we're planning for, what we're going to do with the grant funds. And then in April of 2025, that's when we received the grant application. And then today is where we are. So just a real quick run through.
I know it's been real important to us
Yeah.
as a board to retain local control. And
Mhm.
that's what this plan has in it, is a plan for just that. So thank you for your work on that. I just wanted to see if we have any commissioners that have any questions. Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, just a few comments. And so I've enjoyed working with on this so far with the committee as I'm on it now. And so just have some additional background that I thought I'd share just to be helpful for the board. So while Kim is leading this entire project, it's large, it's multi-year. And so part of what we're seeing today is personnel requests to help with the actual work as this goes forward in the county. It's a multi-year process. This isn't something that's going to happen in the next few months. This is what, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, it's
essentially?
it's a 3 years to get the plan in action. But then in theory, it's a continuation. Yes.
Yeah, so a huge amount of work done up front. And I'd also highlight that the reason why Ottawa County is, not joining with other counties or some other regional approach is for local control, so that we can determine, the direction that the plan goes. I also wanted to just quickly highlight kind of 5 requirements of the plan, just so that, we can all hear them, kind of understand them. And then one interesting thing that I thought was really relevant based on things that happened around here recently. And these are just high level, but this comes straight. There's a lot of documentation online about these. So number 1, the plan needs to identify waste and recycling facilities and infrastructure that's in the county. The committee has representatives from our waste haulers and other organizations, businesses, to help give input and guidance on this. Number 2, understand issues surrounding the recycling of materials, household hazardous waste, food waste, et cetera. Number 3, it really has to drive into metrics and data surrounding, current hazardous waste, current usage levels, really look at the data and understand where we're at. Number 4, the plan has to set goals and benchmarks, including things related to things like community education, recycling locations, signage. Like it's a pretty wide array of things that the plan addresses. And number 5, it must include a siting process for landfills. I don't think we're adding more landfills, but it does have to be in there. And then the interesting thing that I thought I would mention is that the plan can take into account, maybe should, storm debris and how to handle that, especially when you get into a situation like we were recently, where there's a huge amount of debris, and where does that go? How do you coordinate with emergency management, the sheriff's department, et cetera? So there's a lot of work to do, and I'm glad that we're moving forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've said multiple times, I think Kim deserves a medal for this one because she wasn't given a lot of guidance, but she was asked to provide a lot of direction. And that's a difficult position for a leader to be in, and you've handled it very well. Commissioner Miedema.
Thanks for being here today. I really enjoyed hearing from you and Commissioner Moss. I appreciated the extra information that you shared. I think from my perspective, I would love to see you come back at appropriate times that you feel that there's information that would be relevant to continue sharing with the entire board, so that we can see continued efforts of best supporting you. And just communicating with our whole entire community. So again, thanks for being here.
Yeah, yep, definitely. I'll bring this back. And that's part of how it's set up is that there's numerous times where it does come back to the board and it even goes to the municipalities and everything like that. That's how it's designed, which is why I kind of like how the state has it set up, is that there's checkpoints and stuff, and it has a lot of local engagement.
When you mentioned, Kim, the $60,000 in the next few years that they'll continue sending, will that be to help continue funding staff members? Is that something that our county is going to need to budget for? Do you know the answers to that?
Yeah, it's a small in comparison. It's kind of one of those kind of like offset kind of little, it's like a little bit, because historically there was nothing. And there's kind of giving you a little something to help, pay for and implement the plan. So it's nice that they're giving something versus nothing. So instead of essentially an unfunded something, now it's a little bit funded. So,
Yep.
yeah.
All right, not seeing anything more. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kim.
And then also the next thing too.
I know, don't go too far. All right, because now that we're going to vote on this, we're going to need people to actually.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, let's move on to number 7 with the personnel request. So the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the request from Public Health for the following positions related to the proposed material management planning grant. EPH specialist, which is a new position, a 0.9 FTE EPH specialist, which is existing and filled, a 1.0 FTE EPH tech MMP, a temporary position, a EPH supervisor MMP coordinator, which is a new position, which is also a 1.0 FTE.
So moved.
Support.
If you'd like to talk a little bit about, if they're existing positions, what are we doing there? What's the change?
Yeah. I'm not sure how I heard you break those down, but it should be,
So like the
Yeah,
0.9 FTE
yeah.
EPH specialist, which it's listed as
Uh,
existing staff filled.
yeah.
Is that just moving a person into a different?
Yeah,
category?
so it should be, so what we're doing is converting a 1.0 tech into a 1.0 specialist. It's existing, so I'm removing one position and changing it into a specialist to take this role on. Since he's already doing some of the work already, so he's already helping me do the
It
roles.
does say 0.9.
I know.
Are you okay on that, or
Should it?
it should say 1.0? I
Yes.
want to make sure we get this right.
Yeah, it should say 1.0. So when it says that was, when you said, I thought you said 0.9, so it should be
It
1.0.
says 0.9, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
yes,
reread the motion to correct that,
yeah,
if that is adequate.
yeah, because he is 1.0. Yes, so 1.0. Yeah.
It looks like one is 0.9. The first one, the EPH specialist, is if you look at the documentation,
Yeah, it should read 1.0 because he is a current 1.0 tech. And it should be, so we're converting a 1.0 tech into a 1.0 specialist existing staff. And we're adding a 1.0 specialist is what we're doing.
It's a typo.
Yep, it's a typo. Yep. And then, yes. Sorry, I'm reading. Make sure the rest of it is correct.
Is that possibly coming off of page 215, that chart, where there's a 0.4 FTE, and then a 0.5 FTE, the grant cost and program cost, to make a total of 0.9?
Seems like there's 4
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah, maybe possibly
Yeah.
between today and in 2 weeks, we can just make sure we have it.
Clarify that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm only asking for, essentially I'm asking for 2 additional staff and I'm just converting 1 person. And 1, yeah. I'm only asking for 2 new staff. 1 is conversion, to be clear. So what I'm asking for is 2 additional staff, 1 person I'm converting into a specialist because he's already doing the additional workload. And what they will be doing is helping me with the plan. So we're doing additional workload. We're going to be doing a roadshow, essentially, is what we're calling it. We're going to be talking to all the businesses in the area, all the municipalities, and seeing what are the wants and what are not the wants. What don't we want with this plan? Is essentially what the staff will be helping with the plan, collecting the data, locating the data, because we are private industry when it comes to solid waste, which is a generalized term. Anything whatever you don't want is your materials. That's all data we need to be collected and we don't know what it is. And then converting it into our materials management plan. So that's what they're doing. So lots of database stuff, lots of work to be done. And that's what the staff will be doing. And then the 1.0 temporary staff that's only allocated for 1,000 hours is only the grant, is 100% grant funded. None of this
When
is
the
general
grant is
fund.
exhausted, then the position is exhausted. It's up to us to decide whether to carry it forward.
Yep, exactly. That would be 100% sunsetted, whether we choose to then, sunset it, find
That's our
additional
decision.
funding, that'll be our decision. My position is, the best thing to do is if you look at the grant, there's a nice little breakdown in the work program that shows you how the costs are all broke down. But yeah, so that's the positions.
I'll reread
So-
this just to clarify it so that it'll move forward.
that.
If we need to make any additional motions in 2 weeks, we can discuss that. So,
Mhm.
but let's just do that real quick.
And I have one more question. if I
Please.
can. So just trying to wrap my
Yeah.
brain around this. So
Yeah.
is the grant for 1 year and then it's 60,000 after that? So anything we
Yeah.
keep, then the county will have to look at how to fund it in the
Ye-
future?
Yeah, so I don't know why so the grant, I will say exactly what the grant says. The grant ends in December of 2026.
Okay.
Why they chose that date is Eagles.
But it's 1 year's worth of salary, basically, is what it covers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they will renew it. The grant, the MMP is a 3-year process.
Yep.
And that is what it's for.
And then they'll give us 60K per year in
Mhm.
coming years.
Yep. And then my program is funded through currently the landfill tipping fee
Okay.
fund.
So the rest of the expenses are coming from the landfill tipping fee fund then? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Point of inquiry.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable, Commissioner Bonema, like as is, or do you want to table just to make sure that the motion is correct and we just have a clear vote at the Board of Commissioner meeting? Do you have a,
So, yeah, I feel like, to Commissioner Rody's point, that there's a little bit more math to look at. And I don't know if you agree or disagree to that, but go ahead, Commissioner Moss.
I'd be comfortable voting just as is, and if there has to be some slight tweak,
And make that
Eric can
change in
handle
2
that,
weeks.
yeah.
I really don't want to.
I think it's actually correct based on the documentation. It's just a little difficult to read the wording, because one of them is a 1.0 and one of them is a 0.9.
Yeah.
Do we want to just leave it as the 0.9 and then correct it in 2 weeks if necessary?
Yeah.
I think we feel comfortable with that. All right. We'll do that. We'll correct if necessary. So I've already read the
All right.
motion, so I think
All right.
we're ready to vote. Rachel?
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
yes?
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the FY 2026 MDOC plan and application. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the resolution accepting the fiscal year 2026 Michigan Department of Corrections plan and application.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
And we do have somebody to speak to us this morning. Thank you for coming.
Good morning. My name is Alma Valenzuela, and I serve as the Director of Probation and Community Corrections for the 58th District Court. Thank you for reviewing the fiscal year 2026 Community Corrections Plan and Application for approval. As you may know, Michigan Public Act 511 was established to reduce state prison commitment rates by supporting the development and use of evidence-based community corrections programming. These efforts specifically target Group 2 straddle cell offenders, OWI third offenders, and probation violators. At the local level, we offer programming aligned with these goals while also enhancing court appearance and public safety rates through pretrial supervision programs, which has become a significant part of our programming that we offer in our office. For instance, in fiscal year 2024, we achieved a 92% court appearance rate, meaning that 92% of defendants who are awaiting case disposition appeared for all scheduled court appearances. Likewise, we recorded a 91% public safety rate, indicating that 91% of defendants did not commit a new offense while awaiting their case disposition. A defendant's performance on pretrial supervision is often a strong indicator of how someone is going to perform on probation. As such, the data provided to the judges at sentencing is critical to ensure that appropriate informed decisions are made for sentencing. Our programs have consistently demonstrated that with proper supervision, structured programming, and supportive services, low-risk offenders can succeed within the community. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, any comments? Not seen any. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
Commissioner Rhodey. I
Just a
didn't see
small
your hand.
comment. I just want to thank you for your work, and I think it's very important work, and I appreciate seeing the plan and all that's gone into it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get to the vote.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, number 9 on the agenda is a position upgrade request from our clerk register. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the request from the clerk register of deeds office to upgrade 1 case records technician 1 position at a pay grade 3 to a case records technician 4-D at a pay grade 4.
So moved.
Support.
I think I see Justin Roebuck with us this morning, and if you'd like to
Thank you, guys.
about the need that we're filling.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the goal of this request is mainly to move the cost center from the general fund for funding majority of 1 full-time employee in our team, to move that from the general fund to the 4D federally funded grant program. So essentially, we're looking at an annualized cost increase for the 1-step pay grade increase. And Karen can probably correct me if my numbers are slightly off, but I think these are the most recent numbers that I had. So annual cost increase is about $4,800 to move that pay grade, and the annual general fund savings will be $61,600.
Wow.
So we're taking, essentially there's some additional training requirements, some lean security requirements that the 4D role has to fill. And so that pay grade is increased from a 3 to 4 to keep that continuity with similar positions in the front of the court office as well as on our team. So we currently have 3 employees who are funded under the 4D grant program. And basically, this is a federal grant that mainly deals with providing funding for child support services. But our domestic relations team at the Circuit Court Records Office handles about 70% of our workload on the domestic team is directly related to child support. So, divorce cases with minor children, any custody dispute or child support case kind of falls under that funding source. And so ultimately, as we looked at our caseload and the number of staff that we have, we realized we position under this grant as a cost center versus staffing coming out of a general fund.
How long does this grant fund this for?
So this is a long-standing ongoing grant. I mean, I believe 1975 was the first rollout year of the grant. And we started taking a look at it probably 3 or 4 years, 2 years ago. Time flies, I guess. But yeah, about 2 years ago, we realized our office also, it was applicable to our office as well. FOC has positions that are funded from this grant program and has for many years. The sheriff's office also funds a couple of positions out of this program. But because our domestic relations staff deals so heavily with this child support stuff as well, we realized we could take advantage of that cost center also.
Thank you for pursuing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Bruger.
Yes. I know our federal budget works in a 10-year cycle. So on a federal cycle, Justin, you just saved Ottawa County taxpayers $600,000. So thank you.
Good.
That's great. It's good news.
All right. Looks like we've satisfied the commissioners. I think we're ready to vote.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Justin. Number 10, we have some budget adjustments. So the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the FY 2025 budget adjustments per the attached schedule.
So move.
Support.
I don't know if anything needs to be commented on here from finance. Anything for you, or you good to go? I know we've got some commissioner questions too, so if you want to go right to that, you're welcome to.
So were there any questions?
Beat 'em up.
I can start. I just wanted to let the board know that I did reach out to Administrator Rosema regarding 08787, the Corporation Council contingency. And thank you, Administrator Rosema, for forwarding the email on to Mike Bogren's office. And due to a family situation that he's working through today, he wasn't able to answer my questions yet. So I'm totally fine with that. I just asked if he could please get back to me sometime before our next board meeting. Some of the questions I wanted to just better understand was providing the most up-to-date information as it relates to the legal services regarding Crockery Lake. Additionally, I'd like to see any applicable documents and receipts for this item within the budget adjustments, and then how much more the county anticipates the litigation to cost. So those are my questions, and I anticipate getting answers to those prior to the next board meeting. I sent them to Gary, and then Gary forwarded them on to Mike, and just due to a family situation, he wasn't able to get back to me yet.
All right, Commissioner Rhodey.
Okay, I just a comment on one item, and that is 081306, which was to adjust the budget for the immunization program to align with current fiscal year 25 projections. The increased revenues will be used for the purchase of vaccines and vaccine refrigerator repair. Just, I guess, one comment is that having working refrigerators is super important for the safety of vaccines. So I'm thankful to see that repair. I'm hopeful that anything that might have been compromised was thrown away. And then also, I'm guessing that these purchases were probably already made with the vaccines, but I just want to make the board aware that there might be a significant shift to the vaccination schedule. Yesterday, Secretary Kennedy put out a press release that he is completely removing all sitting members of the ACIP committee. And if you're not familiar with that committee, that's the committee that decides whether or not vaccines are approved for safety and efficacy, so basically they determine the childhood schedule as well as all vaccines approved for adults. And so there's been a lot of concern in the last decades that that committee is compromised to corporations, and that their decisions are not independent and science-based. So he has now removed every member of that committee and is replacing them. They have their next meeting, June 25 through June 27 at the CDC headquarters. So it's just a situation for us to be watchful of, as there's potential there that that schedule could be changing. So vaccines that are currently approved for safety and efficacy could possibly be withdrawn. And so I think it's just, there's a couple of ramifications here. One, we don't want to get out over our skis on vaccines we're purchasing that maybe we will not be approved in the near future. But also, when vaccines are approved by that committee, there's blanket liability. So those who administer the vaccines and those who produce them are exempt from liability. And so if that approval is removed from a vaccine, there now then would be liability concerns for the people involved with administering and producing them. So just some ramifications for us to keep our eye on, especially as we're looking at continuing to purchase vaccines. So just making you guys aware of that. I just think it's something we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, thank you,
We
Commissioner.
should know more in the next month.
Yeah, I saw that we had 15 members removed by Mr. Kennedy. I think we have somebody from the Health Department that would like to maybe address that. You're welcome to.
Thank you. Debbie Price again from the Department of Public Health. You posed two questions. First was whether anything was compromised and whether that was safely destroyed. Nothing was compromised. The issue was found during routine maintenance on the refrigerator, which was still in temperature, and we immediately moved everything to another refrigerator.
Okay.
So just to reassure you on that. And then you suggested if the money was already spent, we may have more vaccine than we would need with changes coming. We didn't spend money we didn't have yet.
Okay.
So yeah,
Great.
to put
Thank
that
you.
worry to rest.
Thank you for that. That's very helpful. Questions, Commissioner Wenzel?
On 081305, just a basic point of information. Do you know what that they're wanting the 5K, what they're spending that on?
I would have to give Karen just a minute to pull that up. Could you restate the number?
It's 081305.
All right, let's just give her a minute to do her due diligence.
That is $5,000 for veterans programming. I do not know specifically what they're going to spend it on. In previous incidents, I think they've had that from as a general. This may be specific, but we've had both specific and general, so donations. So I'm not sure.
Thank you.
This one was not specified in the backup.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rachel, I think we are ready to vote.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Bruker,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, that concludes the business part of the agenda. We're now at discussion items, and I would like to go to our interim administrator, Rosema. He's got some additional information in regards to our administrator search and to let him update us a little bit.
I think Commissioner Miedema mentioned that there were 3 candidates that were going to be interviewed for the public. That's actually 2.
Oh, which
Right.
one is not? Which one dropped out since this weekend?
The Lee County, Florida.
Okay,
So, and that was yesterday.
okay.
So,
I did not, maybe I missed an email.
okay.
Was there-
I didn't send an email.
Okay.
It was going to go out today
Okay,
as an update on the information about tomorrow's interviews. So,
okay.
just so you're aware of that.
I appreciate that information.
Okay, thank you.
Just trying to keep the information moving. With that, we do have our clerk, not our clerk, our treasurer, Cheryl Clark.
We do have our clerk here too.
We do have our clerk,
Yeah.
our infamous clerk.
You're lucky.
Yeah. But I'd like to welcome Cheryl Clark and you
Thank
can
you.
give us your month-end report.
Yes. So I included all of the information for the month of May in my report. We are meeting our investment policy requirements. Let's see. And then I wanted to just briefly talk about, I had been coming and saying that there was talk of them reducing interest rates. The Fed did decide to leave them unchanged, so that was good news. Let's see. There's one other thing too I wanted to say. Oh, that I thought this was very interesting. I included it in the meter public funds, that typically intermediate and long-term rates decline once the Fed initiates a rate cutting cycle. And normally it's 6 months after the initiation of the lower rates by the Fed. The 5-year Treasury note will decrease on an average of 0.84%. However, the current rate cutting cycle has resulted in higher rates, long-term and intermediate rates for the Treasury. So that's also been good news. We've been able to get more interest on our money. The one other thing that I included, tax revolving fund surplus declaration for fiscal year 2026. So this is something that I have to do every year. I have to determine if there is a surplus in the delinquent tax revolving fund. And if there is a surplus, then it can be transferred out of the delinquent tax revolving fund to the general fund. And as you can see, there was a surplus of $695,451 that can be transferred over. Do we have any questions?
Just a quick question, Sean. That was 0 last year, right?
It was. Well, no, it was over, we transferred out like 1,200.
Okay.
Yeah, last year.
Okay, not 0, but close
Yeah.
to 0. Thank you very much.
Or not 1,200, I take that back. It was double, it was 600. Oh, that's right, okay. It was 0, you're right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
No further questions, Cheryl. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your report today.
Thank you.
And with that, that brings us up to our second opportunity for public comment. So if anybody would like to come and address the board, you're welcome to do so now. Not seeing any. We have reached the end of our agenda and it is 11:35 and we are adjourned.